Hey guys, it's Nirpam with the Underwater Photography Guide and Blue Water Photo. Now, before I send the R7 back, I really want to do this quick mini review on the RF 85mm macro lens. Now, what's cool about new cameras like the Canon R5, R7, R10 is that they can really use Canon's new glass. You can also adapt Canon's old lenses with the EF to EOS-R adapter, but I like using native Canon glass on native Canon cameras. So, this 85mm lens is a cool lens on paper. Underwater, I don't like it. And that's basically my review. I've shot the RF 100mm macro and I like that a lot better. Now guys, I know this is a cheaper lens. It retails for $499 versus the RF 100mm, which retails for $1,200. Or I think it's $1299. They might have a discount going on there. So it's a significant price difference, but honestly, I really feel like it's not usable underwater, and there's a reason for that. You can see it has these dials on the side right here, right? Now, I found the only way I could really shoot it underwater was by keeping the focus limiter on 0.35 to 0.5. Now, what you see happens when I keep it there, if I try focusing on something and try shooting macro, the lens actually has a moving focusing barrel. Now this is a big degradation in autofocus, so it makes autofocus really slow, really cumbersome. I had to stop shooting an autofocus servo, I had to stop using the autofocus tracking mode, and you really should shoot with autofocus single if you're going to use this lens. It's not completely unusable, I did get some photos, but you'll lose a lot of photos that you normally wouldn't if you shot a lens like the RF 100. Now, looking at those other switches on the lens, it does have built-in stabilization, which is pretty cool, especially if you're a video shooter and you want to shoot handheld video. But overall, unless you're going to use manual focus or single autofocus and you're willing to lose some shots, I just wouldn't recommend it because of the autofocus. I also found some of my images were softer compared to the RF 100mm. Now, this lens is an f2, which means it's nice and fast. But that doesn't really matter as much underwater. I rarely shoot wider than f3.5, so I don't think that's super important as underwater photographers. Now, my favorite lens is really the RF 100mm macro. I've done a review on it, and if you are an R10 or an R7 shooter out there with an APS-C camera and you're worried about the crop factor, when you add a 100mm on a crop factor of 1.5, it's like shooting 150mm, which is a very telephoto lens. I'd say don't worry about it. And the reason for that is the RF 100mm is actually so fast. It's the fastest macro lens when it comes to focusing that I've ever shot, that I really don't have problems focusing on any of the subjects that I shoot. So in my opinion, it's worth the extra $700 to switch to the RF 100mm, and I really wouldn't look at the 85mm lens for underwater photography. So that's my review. If you have any comments, if you think otherwise, or you have a difference of opinion, make sure you drop a comment below, and make sure you like and subscribe for more content. And with that, we'll see you guys out diving.